run it back. Let's talk about anime. If you've been on this channel long enough, you're probably going to notice that this video is similar to another video I did way back in the past, my very first ever anime video. And unlike that one, this one has a lot more research, and I'm not just whining into the microphone this time. Anyway, what better time to get people into anime than right now with this whole pandemic thing, am I right? People are stuck at home and they're like, oh my god, I'm running out of shows on my watch list. Fear not, there's a whole lot of anime you probably haven't seen. Today we're going to be going through the evolution of anime and how far it's come as a medium from Akira all the way until Demon Slayer. And hopefully you non-anime watchers can get educated on the topic and learn something new. Anime back in the 80s embraced sci-fi culture, and unlike US sci-fi films at the time, technology in anime sci-fi usually ended up destroying the Earth in some sort of cataclysmic event, whereas in US sci-fi, technology is often used to save the Earth. There's other tropes where the character has a dark and tragic past and has some secret power that he has to restrain and be disciplined with, otherwise he would wreak havoc on people. Both of these tropes can definitely be traced back to the way Japan felt after the end of World War II. While a lot of anime shows at the time were directed predominantly towards kids, anime movies were a different story. And Akira was even a different story in the movie industry, with a budget of 1.1 billion yen, which is about $8 million USD at the time. It created a awesome cyberpunk thriller that is all hand-drawn, entirely hand-drawn. There is not a single computer-assisted shot in the entire film. Akira rocked the international box office with a whopping $45 million USD, and with that $45 million, they used that directly to fund Ghost in the Shell, the next sci-fi movie to come out, and Akira and Ghost in the Shell had a huge role in playing with influencing The Matrix, and they also funded Manga Entertainment, which is a distribution company that allowed anime to even come into the US in the first place with shows like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and Sailor Moon. Anime creators from this point on found a formula they could use to be successful. It was dark sci-fi elements, hard-hitting action, and slice-of-life teen dramas. Now, I think Akira has a lot more influence on the US and non-anime things than we think. A lot of outcasts, or people that consider themselves outcasts of society, really resonated with the characters of the film because they were also outcasts of society in that film. They were like a delinquent biker gang. Akira is very weird to people in the US at the time because they were used to having animation be simply for kids like Disney and not for more mature audiences. In a 2007 study done by a university student, they asked a whole bunch of people to give a list of adjectives that they thought described anime best. And among that list of words were two words, weird and violent. Now, they were actually surprisingly pretty low on the list compared to things like dramatic and bright and colorful. These two terms could probably be traced back to the way that Americans felt about Akira and Neon Genesis Evangelion in the past. Because, I mean, if you watch the 25th anniversary trailer for Akira, you can kind of see why people would be kind of upset, especially if they took their kid, like their 12-year-old kid, to go see that movie. However, Akira has so much more influence than just that. In Kanye West's music video for his song Stronger on the Graduation album, fantastic album by the way, he actually reenacts an entire scene from the movie in the music video, and with something a little bit more recent like Stranger Things, L somewhat resembles Tetsuo from the film, when Tetsuo is a kid with psychic powers who starts to kind of bald a little bit after he gets psychic powers. Stranger Things is kind of a homage to like 80s type of movie tropes, so coincidence? Now, every great religion has a sacred text, whether it be the Bible, the Sutras, or the Quran. For anime, it would have to be Neon Genesis Evangelion, which
countless critics and fans have meticulously analyzed every frame, every piece of dialogue, peeling back the layers to uncover what visionary director Hayao Miyazaki was trying to say. And it's here, over 20 years later, that we still have no clue.
Neon Genesis Evangelion, or EVA for short, did what Akira did and applied it to weekly television. They knew their audience and did everything in their power to cater to that audience, and their audience was sci-fi nerds. They also took a more mature approach and showed enough symbolism and actual like story elements, like nice complex story elements, to the fact where anime was actually starting a little bit to be considered a complex medium, like an intellectual medium. No more rainbows, no more butterflies, just the pressure living up to others' expectations and childhood trauma, moving past childhood trauma, and a lot of childhood trauma. The open-ended and abstract nature of the ending of the show led to a lot of fan theories and a lot of speculation, a lot of discussion boards on the internet, and them having a bunch of cute girls in the show also, and robots also led to them having a bunch of figurines to sell. I went to Japan 3 years ago and there were still stockpiles of those figurines on the shelves and people were buying them. Like, the marketing team nailed it. Like, the character design team nailed it. And it's no surprise that years later a lot of anime have a product that they sell with the actual show. Pokemon has cards in a video game and an anime. Has plushies, all this stuff. Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, Bakugan, game, Beyblade, another like a toy. Also, this anime, of course, started a war that would be fought for many years, still hasn't ended, and many other battles just like it would erupt on the internet.
There's only one police in this town.
If you've heard the term waifu before, it is definitely because of this show that you see people on the internet arguing over who's the best girl and why shows have multiple girls and multiple different romantic avenues that the protagonist can go. Anime creators now had a new formula to go after. A bunch of cute girls, a shy but relatable insert protagonist, figurines to sell with the anime, action, robots, and of course, a dope-ass intro. Now, we can thank this anime for the body pillows that you sometimes see weebs with. That weird adjective that we talked about earlier. When people say that anime is just...
I don't think it's all porn, but probably a lot of it is, right?
This show is definitely to fault for that and all the other shows that it had in its wake. But to say all anime is like that is completely false. Sure, a show will like have like a beach episode or a hot springs episode out of like 24 episodes. That's just one episode out of 24 episodes. It just depends on what type of anime you're watching. Also, most sexual stuff in anime is supposed to be kind of like laughed at. It's supposed to be for like comedic value, and
Chihuahua really was taking a shower. And she was all boom and boing and bam! He doesn't need to know that!
while, you know, there are some people out there that say anime, like, you know, over-sexualizes and degrades women, which sometimes it gets it gets pretty damn close, if not actually doing it. Most of the time it really isn't. Now, in Japan, women aren't treated as fairly, like here in America still, even being as so far as to go to being groped on trains.
What's up with the women-only train cars?
Oh, well, that's because there's so much sexual harassment in Japan. It's crazy. No one talks about it. I've been sexually harassed. Like, an old dude will grope me because everyone's so
Packed in.
But here's how women are usually represented in anime in terms of personality. You got a spectrum, and usually they only do the ends of the spectrum. So you got like the overconfident, stubborn, full of pride, kick-ass girl, or you got like the shy, generic damsel type of archetype that worships the main character. Usually it's this one, the overconfident one. You may be thinking, well, are they painted in a negative light in anime, given, you know, Japan's or lack thereof feminist views? No, they actually are portrayed in a positive light, if any light at all. Stubborn, confident ones usually end up being the ones that the main characters fall for, and are usually the ones that actually get stuff done in shows when it comes to the female cast. In fact, in this anime called Unlimited Blade Works, you have like this main male protagonist. He's chivalrous and he's kind of sexist at the beginning, but the main female protagonist, they kick ass and they do all of the heavy lifting in the show, and the main male protagonist ends up falling for one of them, and, you know, me too. Give me a break, all right? It's called Parasocial Relationships. Look it up. Now, if you're my age, these are probably shows that you grew up with. They were usually long, awesome underdog stories that were catered towards young adults and boys. The big four are Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and Bleach. One Piece spanning over 929 episodes and still going compared to Neon Genesis Evangelion, which was a mere 26 in comparison. These shows were an incredible experience as a kid to watch because you grew up with the characters. They started off as kids with you, and as you grew into being a teenager or into an adult, they also grew into teenagers in the show. It was actually like pretty cool. This is where you get the kids doing like the jutsus in the corner, and where you get like the cosplaying from. And the reason I think this is because as a kid, you know, we live at least me personally, I live vicariously through these shows. The group of friends and the adventures and the escapism that I wanted, I lived vicariously through that. Like I wanted, like it showed characters that were confident, did what they said they were gonna do, and were trying to be acknowledged by the outward society. As a kid, you wanted to do that yourself. You thought the character was cool, other than just being fun and being goofy. When you dress up as the character that you think is cool and like you act like the character you think is cool, you yourself are also like, hey, this is cool. I'm cool because I'm doing this and that character is cool. Also because, let's face it, like imagining you're breathing a fireball after doing some cool hand signs, which I can, hold up. So, oh god, it's whatever. It was funny at the time. I don't know why I can still do it. This is also where you get the anime is just for kids stigma, which if you've seen Attack on Titan, is totally false. Plus the fact that a lot of these shows, when they came to America, were censored and Americanized. The most heinous crimes being Sanji, a character in One Piece's cigarette being turned into a lollipop. Yu-Gi-Oh! That had the Shadow Realm, which in actuality, in the Japanese version, there was no Shadow Realm. They just died. The people just died from a card game. And there's, of course, Brock's infamous jelly donuts, which are actually just rice balls. They're called onigiri.
These donuts are great. Jelly-filled are my favorite. Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut.
A lot of anime fans wanted more, and so they went to the internet and were able to get anime through a process called fan subbing. So fan subbing is when someone, like a fan, pirates anime from Japan and then actually goes through the hard work of translating it and then publishing it on like a website for other people to watch. Now the problem with these fan subs is that the subtitles were often very colorful and had actual animations in the subtitles, which you're not supposed to do with subtitles. If you've watched One Piece as a kid and you watched the Japanese version, you got to see, like, you would not see a special attack without the green little letters like blowing up in time with the attack. It was actually like pretty cool, and oftentimes they would have like the artist's touch. The translator would add a bunch of notes because there's no actual like 100% translation for some Japanese words in English. It took a really long time for them to put episodes out. I mean, they're like 1 or 2 man teams working on these things. And with streaming platforms like Crunchyroll, which is basically like a streaming platform purely designated for anime, Crunchyroll is able to get like simulcasts. So like as the episode is airing in Japan, you could watch the episode on Crunchyroll with like an official translation. And as they got more and more shows, people started switching to Crunchyroll. Hopefully they started switching to Crunchyroll and getting their shows legally and with actual official translation. Even Netflix has gotten into the anime industry with huge titles like One Punch Man, Attack on Titan. They got Neon Genesis Evangelion. They're now getting the first 2 sagas of One Piece, which I think are like 161 episodes long in total. They got all 3 seasons of Avatar: The Last Airbender coming this May, and they got a whole pile of Studio Ghibli films coming too this summer. Like, it is crazy. They're going ham in the anime industry. Now, because anime has grown a lot more accessible in the past like decade or so with the internet, the audience just blew up in the past 10 years. And we're starting to see anime start to become from a niche genre, like a niche medium, and into a more mainstream light. We can literally binge seasons of anime all at once, and we can watch episodes as they come out in Japan. We're getting a lot more anime and we're getting it all at once. It is, which, speaking of Japan, they decided to make anime seasonal, which means we get cycles of anime every new season. We get a new season for the winter, we get a new season for spring, summer, and then fall. We get like a whole, like another bracket of anime to watch. And these seasons are all 12 episodes long. And here's where I'd like to digress and like just address what I think is the main problem with generalization in people who don't watch anime and don't really know enough about it is they confuse anime for a genre when it's not a genre. Anime is in fact a medium. It would make sense that the confusions about anime being a genre and not a medium would come from the early 2000s, where you either get a bunch of robots fighting each other, or you get like that, you know, Naruto, like One Piece, Dragon Ball Z type of story. But it's definitely not the case now. There is such a wide variety to choose from. Now, trust me, I know anime can get weird. Anime can be about this high schooler who sleeps with one of his classmates while having a crush on his teacher. He finds out that they're sisters, and then he finds out later on that his single dad is marrying the mother of the two sisters, so he has slept with one of his half-sisters and is romantically interested in the other stepsister. It's a dumpster fire. Or the anime could be about 8th graders turning into kappas, doing a little musical and dance before launching themselves into a demon's butthole and pulling out a little marble. I am not gonna stop recommending that people watch Sarazanmai. It is a good show, trust me. It is deep thematic. But as I was saying, there's no way it is the case with today. Do you want a teen rom-com with actual genuinely funny moments and little to no fan service? Watch Toradora. You want something along the lines of Avatar: The Last Airbender? Watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. You want a satire on anime in the form of a fantasy sitcom? Watch Konosuba. You want something to cry about and that will completely destroy your life? Watch Anohana or Your Lie in April. It's that easy. What I'm trying to say is that there's something in anime for everyone. Anime is no longer just pandering to one audience. The anime industry knows that. They know that they don't just pay attention to their Japanese audiences anymore, their nerdy audiences anymore. They are listening to an international audience, and they are actually producing like awesome shows in the process. For non-anime fans, this whole pandemic thing is the perfect time to get into anime. You want some recommendations? Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Attack on Titan, One Punch Man, Anohana, A Silent Voice. All of these are available on Netflix. Don't like any of those and you just want to try something that's like really like kind of like a short show? Good, because of the seasonal cycle, all seasons are 12 episodes long. Demon Slayer is the epitome of what is happening with the anime industry right now. Take what took like One Piece or Naruto like 20 or 50 episodes to do and cram it into 12 episodes. And it's only getting smaller. I implore you to at least give anime a try. At least check it out. You have plenty of time on your hands anyway. Now, would I say that anime nowadays would give me the same emotional chills that earlier anime did? Not necessarily, but the difference is so small that I would definitely not go back to the way it was. AniSuper Giga phrases this whole phenomenon of the direction that anime is going in perfectly.
Instead of asking, what have you watched? We started asking, are you watching? To me,
this pattern of compression and diversity is only going to continue. Anime like Demon Slayer and Konosuba are now having canon movies. Anime movies never used to be like canon. They were just spin-offs of their show. So they took what took like 50 plus episodes and they're cramming it into 240 minutes in a 12 episode season. They're now taking that and they're cramming what you would do in a 12 episode season in 120 minutes in a movie. It's crazy. So we can see how anime has grown over the past couple of decades, from like this cyberpunk really deep into the sci-fi genre to these long scale, huge like underdog epics, to now a huge landscape of so many different genres, all fast-paced because of the way that anime is formatted now. With this whole research process, I found out that normies actually don't see us as complete lost causes anymore. This whole reboot of my old video is because of an English project that I wanted to do, and I had a whole bunch of other topics planned, well really only 2. But the people in my class actually insisted that I do this topic. Take a look at these interviews from Japan where they're asking people on the street what they think about weeaboos, and you'll see that it is a generally positive response.
ってるんやなみたいな感じ。僕は音楽が好きなんでそういう感じなんかな。
聞くなみたいな感じってありますかね。でも昔はあったんですよ、でもなんか大人になるっていうか自分が大人になるにつれてなんか自分も音楽とか好きだったりするんでなんか気持ちはわかるからなんか逆にすごいなって尊敬するようにはなりました。
弾くことはないですね。私も結構アニメの方は見るんでオタクまでもいかないですけどアニメは嫌いじゃないんで全然弾くことはないです。
なんか差別がアニメオタクじゃない人たちからしたら多分そんな思ってない人もいると思うんですよ。だけどなんか逆にこっちのアニメオタク側が思ってんだろうなっていう風に
アニメとかは興味ないんで別次元っていうかなんかそうですの印象がありますね。この前天気の子見たんですけど、なんかそういうのもなんか意外に面白いかなっていう。
それまではあんまり見な
そうですね、全然ですね。
And we have to realize that everyone, at least in college, has matured enough to the point where they see that people liking anime, as long as you don't obsess over it, yeah, says the guy that's making a video about it. Take a look at these people who have never seen anime before. They went from this,
like Japanese cartoons,
mystical type storylines.
I don't know, maybe I'll love it,
to this.
Defied my expectations more than it met what I thought anime was.
I definitely appreciate it more, but I don't know if I would watch it.
What I love the cinematography of the animation. Like that first one especially, there's such movement, such...
Yeah, I'd totally watch Attack on Titans. I might go watch it tonight.
Even with the comedic over-sexualization part, these two dudes went from this.
These guys are, what do we call them? They're anti-weebs. They're anti-weebs. They have like basically watched nothing anime.
To this.
Oh, I felt that.
Yo, she got jacked.
I deserved it. Oh!
Oh, she's kind of a baddie though.
It's a guy. That's a guy? Yeah.
Oops. Just saying. Oh, that is so satisfying. Oh!
Yes!
I never knew that all I needed in my life was an anime like fight scene, but he's just
cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so badass.
I can watch this.
It's gonna be so good. Oh, this
Whoa!
Whoa!
Is there not even gonna be like an evil twist? He's literally just talking about how he made it?
Yeah.
This is incredible.
I love this.
Is this like an entire genre, just like literal food porn?
Just this anime.
Amazing.
This anime is literally food porn.
Yes, I think I found my new thing.
Leaving this universe to go to another.
I want to eat this so bad.
I need this. Where does the show go from here?
I have not reached completion. Jesus! What? No! This is what I've been missing!
My man, what just went down?
Anime.
Like, they were actually laughing at it and having a good time, which I totally didn't expect them to do. And granted, it helps that they're dudes, but still. Anime is starting to become a lot more mainstream, and it is already a staple of nerd culture. You cannot just play video games and not hear of anime before. It is everywhere. It is ingrained in there. The two intertwine each other.
Turning to the finals to defend their title, it's Team Liquid.
For those who don't know a lot about anime, they just need a little nudge. They just need to try it, a little toe dip in the pond, if you will. And for those that do like it, don't be ashamed about it like I was just a couple months ago. No one cares. And if they do care, they'll be like, cool dude, yeah, cool. Anime, yeah. With anime becoming a lot more mainstream, both sides of generalization just need to cease. And hopefully we can all get to know this like awesome medium of storytelling a whole lot better. And I hope after watching this video and learning more about anime, a lot of people get into it because it is just an awesome, awesome medium to be into. And so I hope you enjoyed the video. That's all.